Last time on Ace Attorney. If you want to blame anyone, blame society! Hey, Chief Gant, what do you get when you cross a mentally defective detective with a society that treats him like crap? You got what you fucking deserve, pal! Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Unless we got another fake out like in the last episode, this is gonna be the final episode of this game. Oh man, I'm ready for a stunning finale, and the build-up is all there. I think this is gonna be great. Not to mention the fact that, I highly doubt they're gonna push this any further, because, like, the first case was 1 episode, right? Second case, 2 episodes. Third case, fourth case, I think they were both 6 episodes, if I remember correctly, or somewhere around that. This case, as of right now, as of this episode, this is the 13th episode of Rise from the Ashes. In other words, almost half of my Ace Attorney series has been Rise from the Ashes. Super long investigations, super long trials, and it's finally coming to an end. This has been 13 episodes in the making. And yeah, we're bringing Lana to testify, and we're gonna try to get Gant for all of this. I really don't know how we're gonna get Lana. I guess she's gonna lie, and we're just gonna have to point out her lies and slowly dig the truth from behind her lies, right? Behind every lie, there is truth. We just need to reach through the lie to grasp it. Hopefully we clear up my whole dilemma with the order of events in the, SL9 case, because, it's possible that Marshall did get killed normally, and, because, like, the only decisive evidence we have pinning Emma to Marshall's murder is her name written on the vase, right? If it turned out that it was, Gant that wrote that name as some sort, to essentially frame Emma, if he wanted to, as a way to keep Lana under his thumb artificially, then Emma might actually be saved, but, I guess we will have to see where this goes, but I don't want it to end, man. But at some point, all good things must. And I guess at the end of this episode, I'll be revealing what the next game on the channel will be. Actually, I'm actually going to be revealing what the next 2 games on the channel will be. I know, exciting, right? But we'll get there when we get there. So stick around till the end. February 25th. 2:21 p.m. District Court Courtroom number 9. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? There she is. Miss Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you.
But, Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all I've done these past 2 years.
Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth.
Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Come on, Lana, come clean. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Gant and the fabrication.
I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma.
Yeah, some bullshit. Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana...
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this.
That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
Oh, don't worry. Sometimes a faulty testimony can reveal much more than a truthful one. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not.
She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Yeah, it's just no time to start second-guessing myself. Yeah. Honestly. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Alright, let's see.
Mr. Wright, my sister's lying.
It looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself.
There's no way she would have done it alone.
I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Yeah, I mean... The fact that they were able to erase all luminal tracks means that they must have come prepared knowing that the murder would take place, right? But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail.
You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip.
Damn, we should have reported her.
I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And...
Did you do so to help your sister?
Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life.
But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything.
That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him.
Lana. So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago? You say you did this all by yourself?
Yes.
Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene?
It seemed I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor's knife was struck in the victim's body.
What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident.
That's only a situation you dreamed as possible.
Huh?
The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement.
You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark?
Something like that.
If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife.
Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle.
That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So, when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to.
Yes.
You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound, and you moved the body! But why? Why would you do that?
You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders.
My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. Why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body?
It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk.
But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there?
The reason for that is simple.
Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. Piece of the jar, you mean?
Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body.
So, when you first found the body, the jar was already...
Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead, and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle.
I see! But that doesn't make any sense. What's the matter, Emma?
Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that.
Must be a contradiction here somewhere.
Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone.
Right. The fact that they wouldn't be able to write it. Thank God we're addressing this finally. So, you rearranged the crime scene? Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer?
How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period.
Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence?
She's lying. She did it so that I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions.
Actually, I want to see exactly what she says about the tip. Why did you plant the knife? But why did you do that?
Come now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out.
Very well, let's add this to the witness's testimony. The reason Miss Sky fabricated the knife.
I knew the tip of the weapon was buried in his body would be all the proof we needed.
Oh, so we can go either way with this. Shit! I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right?
Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body.
So, you buried it inside the victim's stab wound?
Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did.
Huh! Yeah, that one makes sense. So, what we need is to change... So yeah, I like that. We can actually change her testimony one of two ways. So yeah, we need her testimony to be about the moving of the body, because that's the one that doesn't make any sense, specifically because of the jar. Right, so this is what we need to contradict. And it has to be with the jar itself, right? Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If the truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony.
A contradiction in my testimony?
You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan."
That's right.
Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood.
Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments.
Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died.
Ah!
He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar, unless he was really fucking good at his job. Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regards to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well, the witness may now continue her testimony. Indeed she will. Jar and message in blood.
I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in that room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Alright, let's see. So, the jar was already broken.
It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier.
It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case. But not as feeble as the judge's judgment. Your Honor, this is not just the defense's case. At present, it is also the prosecution's case, and together, it is mighty strong.
Edgeworth, that's the nicest thing you ever said to me.
You are an ace detective who never missed a detail. You really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces?
Normally I would have.
So, you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar?
No! If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust.
Well, that helps my case.
Lana, you'd do that for me?
It seems you two might make up yet.
Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was.
If someone happened upon the crime scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry.
I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came.
This is rather shocking! I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. Ooh, what do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood.
What else could I have done in that situation?
Lana,
I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces.
But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office.
A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me.
Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go.
I never miss anything. I got every last piece.
Except you did not. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of.
What?
We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's... Right. Gant wasn't working with Lana to forge the evidence. He was doing his own fucking thing. If it is as Lana says, right? And, I think Alana is smart enough to try to lie with the truth, right? If it is as she says, and she got there and erased the blood from all the jar pieces, then the only explanation is that Chief Gant removed one of the jar pieces before Lana ever even reached the room. We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe.
In the chief's safe? But how?
I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leads us to only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the crime scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed the piece? Greatest detective in greatest detective of her time, anyone? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. Lana Skye, the ultimate detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that? Have you forgotten, Your Honor? I most definitely can. When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that! There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant! At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs! Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the facts for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No! No! Wait! I'm not the one on trial here! Oh, that's amazing! Judge is so fucking used to, like, Wright and Edgeworth pressuring, like, the true criminal to the point where they fucking break and go like, no! My evil schemes have been revealed! That he felt pressure, so all of a sudden he was like, no! I admit it all! I stole the salami from the courthouse break room! I needed it for my sandwich, sorry! Please don't uninvite me from the courthouse Christmas party, guys! I'm sorry! Damon Gant arrived at the scene of the crime prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the Chief's puppet. Oh, shit! What? That was fucking blood coming from her thumb! What is she about to do, a fucking summoning jutsu? Shit! No, I did it on my own! Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief! I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake! No, you didn't! It wasn't you, Emma! You didn't kill anyone! Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says! Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients! Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client! I guess you do seem like the type who likes to twist the truth! Huh? Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Of course we are. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Skye, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall, the real ace detective here is me, of course. I'm just joking. It wasn't that hard to figure out. I mean, there's just way too many inconsistencies with the evidence for Emma to be the real culprit. It just doesn't make any sense. Might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. But you don't remember him dying, do you? Miss Skye, if you will. I can't! There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw.
Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time. Actual crime scene.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent.
Unbelievable! The body was impaled on the armor sword! You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof.
Actually, I do have proof.
What?
I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
Huh? The evidence law? Is there something written on this book? What? To me?
It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it.
Oh, shit! It's gotta be in the book, right?
I thought it might be needed.
But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you.
I guess she does. Well, Mr. Wright, please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I seem to remember getting something from her then.
Let's check the evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere.
Evidence law. Hey, there's a picture here! Shit.
Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this, because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything.
Right.
Mr. Wright! The picture cut out from the vest. Could that be?
Right. The cloth was found inside Chief Gant's safe, where Lana pushed him. What's this?
It's a handprint, isn't it?
It's your handprint, to be precise.
That cloth! It had fingerprints on it. Whosever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
What? Those fingerprints... They're yours, Emma.
Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright?
Anyways, let's go on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Alright. Let's see. Bitch!
Come now, Udgy!
This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen! Chief Gant!
What now? You want to make me out to be a bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense.
No, bitch, you've already waived that right, motherfucker!
Objection!
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
What?
He already declined to testify. That means you forfeited the right to make statements of any sort.
Oh, Gant, don't go up against Edgeworth unless you're planning.
Unless you know that he's gonna own your ass. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your neck. That's good. That's real fucking good. Oh! Edgeworth, you are really just the star of the show this entire case. It's been you. You the man. Hey, I guess my noose metaphor during the Jake Marshall's testimony wasn't wasted after all. It was all foreshadowing for this final one. So what? You think I'm worried? You looked pretty worried to me! Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? Let me guess. Oh, look at that! 4 pages. Nice. Wow. I think we're gonna have to hit him with the rules of evidence law. No, I don't. But someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Righto? Huh? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, I'm sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now! And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do? I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Alright, I'm gonna save right here, because I don't want to have to do all that again if I pick the wrong answer. So to present the piece of evidence, the one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall. Oh, shit. Man, this is a hard one. Because it's not like, oh, do you have evidence? And then you can look through your court record to see if you have evidence. This is like, do I present the evidence that will end my own case? Or do I hold it back? Oh, or do I withhold it? Shit. This is a tough choice. I think here I need it's risk versus reward. If I show the evidence, can I still turn it around on Gant? And if I don't turn in the evidence, can I get through the trial without it being pointed out? Because Gant can't point it out. I mean, he can't testify, so he can't say anything about the evidence's existence. And yet... But wait. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I mean, no one in the police department has approved this evidence, so... Alright. I'm gonna go for a leap of faith here, right? Evidence law has been such an important part of this trial. It's come up again and again. And Edgeworth is a real stickler for it. If I show the evidence, there's no wrongdoing on my part. However, Edgeworth I am going to trust Edgeworth to block it on basis of evidence law. Right? Because I don't think this evidence follows the rules of evidence law. So, if I show it, or if I try to show it, Edgeworth can block it completely. And that's what I think is the best idea, because if I do not show the evidence, I'm pegged, right? I need to essentially stop the evidence from... I need to show the evidence, but prevent it from being used. Essentially. The best way to do this is to intend to present it, but then have it be blocked by Edgeworth. Alright. It's a leap of faith, but hopefully, I can trust my boy to catch me. Let's go, Edgeworth. The ball is in your court now. Yes, Your Honor, I do have further evidence.
Alright, the time's finally come to show it then. Those prints have got to be the Chief's.
Now then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered the prosecutor Marshall. Huh, actually. Could I possibly show a different bit of evidence? Alright, Edgeworth. Block it. It's a piece of leather cloth? Yes, it was most likely cut from the victim's vest near his chest. What's this? There's a big handprint on it. Surely it must have been left in the cloth by whoever shoved the victim onto the sword. What? Whose fingerprints are on this? I'm sure Righto has checked. Haven't you? Well, whose are they? Come on, Edgeworth, stop this circus. They're Miss Sky. Miss Emma Skies. What? They're mine? So I really did do it. See, I told you it was conclusive. But this was found in your safe. That means it's possible you forged it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember any cloth in my safe. Do you really expect me to believe that? Why are you even speaking? You're not allowed to testify. But give it up, Mr. Wright. It's over. You shouldn't have presented that. For presenting that evidence, you tied Emma Sky to Neil Marshall's death. No. It appears we have our killer. No. No. No! Everything hinged on that point. In the end, Lana alone was found guilty on all counts. Well, I was not expecting it to go that way. Fuck! Man, that would have been really cool. If you have to present the evidence and then Edgeworth stops it with the evidence law. Now I'm actually kind of bummed they didn't do that. Like, I get where they're going with this. We gotta forge a little bit on our own side to win this case, but man, I think it would have been really cool if we because I mean, they've done so much with the whole evidence law thing that I didn't think they would just leave it at, you know, it being a method of delivery for the picture. I thought for sure Edgeworth would come in and block the evidence because it hadn't been approved by the police department. Gant can't approve it because he can't testify to anything. So, you know. Oh, shit. Whatever. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Or is that how they're going to approach this? Being like, it's not that I'm not going to present it, it's that I can't. If they still do the evidence law thing here, I think I'll still be happy. I would have been happier if Edgeworth teamed up with us. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe? You took what was inside! The conclusive evidence! I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like parts being cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, Chief of Police, have been concealing evidence? This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Ah, we make him trip up. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me down as a murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, then when she saw the crime, she would ask for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. And this was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. Is he going for the nuclear option? Is he going to, try to take us both down together? 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best when you prepare for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for the murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hit the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood of all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar, too? Ho! Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept 1 more item. For insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So, you admit to it then, Chief Gant? That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that to being chief at all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Of course, Your Honor. I said I didn't have any evidence I could present. Not that I didn't have any evidence. Foolish move, Righto. You should have showed it before it was too late. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. I can't show it. I physically cannot show it. Oh, it's too late to show the evidence now. Besides, even if I did, it just exposed that poor girl's fingerprints. Alright, think hard over the circumstances. Circumstances? I'm talking about then and now. There's one major difference between the two. Weren't you waiting for that difference? So, Edgeworth figured out my plan. Mr. Wright, this is your only chance. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright, then let's see this conclusive evidence. Alright, because at this point, Gant has already admitted to forging it. So, then it's not conclusive anymore. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. No, not my attorney's badge. Fuck. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh yes! At last you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth! Your Honor, the prosecution requests to be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must be a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean it could not have been forged? It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Ho ho ho! You're as slow on the update as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Rhino had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that. Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer! Whose fingerprints are they? Very well, I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. Phoenix with his fucking, like, 19th dimensional chess over here. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... Emma! Emma Sky! What? And they're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, you're really something, Rhino. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true! Tragic, but true! This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death! How could you? You monster! Miss Sky! You knew whose fingerprints they were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't! Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it's over, boy! Not only this trial, but your career too! You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I would know! I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defense is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy! What's the matter? Got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one single-handedly turned into a who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. You're right. The fact that there's no blood on it, meaning it had to have been cut off before Marshall was fucking, impaled. What? A contradiction? What is this foolish babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Now take a good look at it. See where the piece of evidence of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured from his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth! Wait! There's no blood on it! Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at the time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Ms. Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor sword? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, the person proceeded to write her name on the jar of the victim's blood. A jar they broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic. He could forge evidence to save others from conviction, but not himself. Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finally over. His hair has gone limp! That was close, Rhino. He almost had me. Oh. So sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute all your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You can't even testify. You say that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. There we go. Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Aji? Early on, Rhino here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Rhino? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true! The defense did refuse to present evidence. At the moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. That's not how, any of this works. Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son! And man, stop embarrassing yourself. By dragging this out, you're only making it worse. I mean, last time I checked, you just blackmailed some prosecutor. Do you really think that was gonna work? Von Karma's case was so tight. He coached the fucking parrot. I called upon the this man coached every single witness, and I called upon a witness that no one in their reasonable mind would ever call to the stand, much less coach a fucking parrot. This man retrained a fucking parrot, knowing that I would call it to the stand. This is the mind of Von Karma. Okay? And Von Karma, in the end, succumbed. Do you really think you can beat a prosecutor that has only ever, in his entire career, lost only a single case? How many investigations and cases have you lost? I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True, the legal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright! Seems at last, the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it that you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of evidence? I didn't. Because I could not show it. I admit I refused to present it at one point. So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Oji, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let's settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present the evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not a violation of the law, then do so now!
Take that!
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Albeit, I'm a few months out of law school too late, but, close enough. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth. Nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented? It was shown only a few moments ago. No! He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you when you called it out. Was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes! No! See, Von Karma would never, like, in a million years, do something so sloppy as forget evidence, basic evidence law. Right? Really? If this was Von Karma instead of Gant, you can bet your ass he would have fucking slathered that cloth on Marshall, right? Like, either he would have cut out the cloth after impaling Marshall so that, you know, at the very least, he would have, you know, rubbed the cloth on Marshall's blood so they would have some blood on it. But more than likely, he would have not cut it off until after the body had been impaled so that, you know, it would also match the fucking pattern. Such an idiot. It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum! For 2 years, he's snooping around the department trying to get something on me! Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me! Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Star, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, Goodman was in on it. He was gonna reopen the investigation, that's why Gant killed him. Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've gotta help me. Right, that's why the glove was jammed on the sensor. It wasn't pure luck. It was... I think I may have said it at the end of one of the episodes. I don't know if I expressly said it or implied it, but I did at one point think that, the piece of rubber glove was left there on purpose by Goodman. Like, it was, you know, some sort of triple, like, fooling operation. Like, Goodman goes in, like, Marshall didn't steal his ID, he willingly gave it to him. The plan would be Goodman goes into the evidence room accompanied by someone else, right? That way, he doesn't leave his ID on record. He puts the glove in the sensor. Then, later that day, Marshall, using his ID, goes into the room and retrieves the evidence. Now, assuming that that their plan goes off without a hitch, Marshall gets the evidence out. Everyone is none the wiser. They think it was filed away by Goodman, right? Hell, they can check the security video. And they'll see Goodman taking away the evidence for the case. And as such, they'll just assume that it was locked away, and that's done. Hell, even Gant would think that he's finally safe from having to watch his back regarding SL9, since he's like, oh, it's locked away, case can't be reopened now. When in reality, Marshall, Goodman, and Sky would have been combing through the evidence that they stole, so that, and eventually found him out. However, in case something did go wrong, and Marshall was caught stealing the evidence, then at least, he would get probably fired, but Marshall would take the fall since he was disguised as Goodman as opposed to Goodman himself, right? Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Oh, I guess not. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. And then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. We can't transfer the evidence out. We can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many. I don't know what voice to give this man. We can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking out the evidence, he said, "It's not too late. I'm gonna hand this all over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was taken a bit aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. The accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. So, okay, I was a bit wrong in that Goodman wasn't working together with Marshall. However, I'm willing to bet that in his dying moments, he placed that glove in the sensor so that then because he knew that Marshall would try to steal the evidence. That way Marshall would be able to access his locker and get that evidence. I suppose that was originally his plan. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Ugh. Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had much to lose if the truth did come out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments and the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stay in court? Me. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go at it alone. But he's not alone. Don't worry, Edgeworth. You'll never be alone. You'll always have me by your side. Right Edgeworth Law Offices. Or Edgeworth Wright Law Offices. That actually sounds better. It's time to say goodbye to the things we loved and the innocence of youth. How does time seem to fly from our carefree lives and the solitude and peace we always knew? Oh, God. Jeff Williams is amazing. The entire Ruby soundtrack is fucking amazing. Oh, Woodgie! What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Aji. Thanks for all the memories, though. One night, one more time. Thanks for the memories, even though they weren't so great. God damn it, stop saying song lyrics. Fuck. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Rhino here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years, from the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today.
So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble.
My, what high standards you have for a rookie.
Well, considering all my other acquittals have been, like, perfect? I'd say so.
I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright.
Miss Sky.
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth.
Huh.
You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days, but believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you.
Huh. It was nothing. Liar! Stop trying to act cool.
I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth.
Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examination is in order for all of us. Miss Sky.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as an accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling?
It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I've felt free from these heavy chains. It's so good!
This is even more satisfying than putting Marshall behind bars. Well, this trial has gone for far too long already. Tell me something I don't know. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty! Confetti. Every courtroom should have confetti built in. That is all! This court is adjourned! Beautiful. February 25th, 5:03 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 2. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't completely get off the hook, but at least she won't be convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended. I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too. But Lana didn't say a single word to me. Oh. I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals!
Gather Gumshoe! Oh, I guess I am. Come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Make a detective run around all on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals, pal. Hey, light it up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because my sister again? Oh, nah, not this time. I came today because, you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Alana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. I won't tell him if you won't.
Emma, I owe you an apology.
It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. That was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No! Huh? I turned my back on you that day, in hiding what I believed to be the truth. I was deceiving you. Sis. I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Hey! Always, any good visual novel rewards you with some really rewarding art at the very end. No one can change the past. Now that will just melt your heart. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we finally find the way back on our rightful path. And if it is from that day we can move forward towards a brighter future. Oh, it is that day. At least, that's what I felt, watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me! Thank you both for all you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here! Where was he hiding? I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. Huh. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No, Edgeworth! No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah, like hell you can't! Come work for me! Join my law office. We'll defend people like you always wanted to do, like your father did! Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go at it alone. But you don't have to go at it alone. We can go at it together. Come on. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor.
Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake.
They were alone.
You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright.
It's so sweet, I can feel my teeth just having fucking cavities.
And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What? Ah, yeah. This is a pop quiz.
Come on, Mr. Wright, what's Lana talking about?
Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. I'm gonna start at the back. No. You're fucking kidding me. The evidence list, it's a metaphor! It's a fucking metaphor. With only one piece, the piece that Edgeworth had, you can't reach the truth, but put both pieces together, and you find the truth behind the case. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. We wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture.
That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth.
Huh. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there's still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. No, don't go! Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember. You can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Oh! End it! Just end it! Cut it short! That's it! That's the final line! That should be the final line of this entire game! You can't top it! You can't top that ending! You really fucking can't! Farewell. Should have just left it at that.
I'd better be going too.
Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon.
It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will.
This is the sweetest ending to any game I've ever played. You know, coming from like my last visual novel games that I've played being what? Persona 3 and Danganronpa? I mean, in Danganronpa, they like always kill off like a good 2/3 of the cast get fucking murdered by the end, and it's always a fucking like sad as shit Pyrrhic victory. And like Persona 3, I mean I can't really go into the Persona 3 ending without giving away massive spoilers, so I won't. Just know it's also sad as shit. So coming from those two visual novels to this, I was not prepared for such a happy ending. It's some Disney shit and I love it! And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. Hopefully we'll meet Emma again. As for me, I doubt we'll have her as our partner anymore. I think that's just, you know, a special one-time thing. However, I do hope that, you know, at some point she does show up, like, you know, every once in a while to help us with scientifically investigating crime scenes and stuff. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Notice how Edgeworth was there, you know, front and center as opposed to literally anyone else? It's fucking Wrightworth! Or, what is it in Japanese? Natsumasu? What is it? Narumitsu. That's the one. Narumitsu is the, Right. Yeah, Narumitsu is their Japanese ship name using, you know, their Japanese names, and it's basically the official name for the ship, but, you know, the Wrightworth is good too. A journey to rediscover myself. Oh, don't go trucking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? It's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she is supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, maybe okay with me, but the books at the prison, they're a different story, pal. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe the guard in order to sneak around for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here's the one who will be footing the bill. Huh? Oh, you think I can afford this on my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it I suddenly feel like I want to scream? Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it out together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go! That's good. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days as a prosecutor's office. So Emma won't be coming back. Still, I managed to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Hopefully in some later games, Emma will come back. But yeah, more of these. Yeah, 'cause I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, I overlooked my unauthorized investigation at the chief's office. If we penalize you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show you can't shake me off that easily. No, they can't, Gumshoe. But yeah. Wow. Wow. This game is so good. Like, I was. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, you. My name is Gareth, the main entrance today, Gareth Belly. Can you believe it? I've been devoted to security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. Oh, this is how they're gonna make a detective. Yes, sir. Gonna be just like the Dick Shoe. Hey, great role model. But yes, wow, this was a wild fucking ride, guys. And thank you to any of you who have struck it out all the way with me. Cursed! Fucking cursed badger. You get what you fucking deserve! But yes, this is it. It's the first game that we have finished on the channel. Again, huge thank you to anyone who stuck it along with me. Oh, what's this? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a steak lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seen one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water? Sure. Yeah, man, huge thanks to any of you who have stuck through this until, all the way through. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu, the right way lunch. The top layer tastes bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer's as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. Greatest honor. A lunch from Miss Angel Star herself? Man, what an honor. What a way to be immortalized. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after that trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyways, I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be. Oh no, I forgot my sandwich. Sorry, gotta go. What an experience, man. These games are fan-fucking-tastic. And don't you worry, it might not be just now, but we will definitely be playing the rest of the trilogy, and then after that, we'll see where that goes. Oh, Emma!
Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objections. Still, you can't go back until a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya, afternoon training is about to begin. Coming. Well, see you around, Nick.
Yeah, don't worry. And after I do the trilogy, I'm probably gonna do Ace and Miles Ace Investigations or whatever the fuck it's called, because I want more. I need more Edgeworth in my life. And after that, probably move on to Apollo Justice, Dual Destinies. My goal is to play through the entire series, if possible, eventually, because Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, I brought you your tea. What's going on? Yeah. I definitely need more. Yeah, but yeah. My goal is to eventually get through the entire series, because
Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, All I have to do is open this book.
Got a picture of her inside. Nani? No! That's the cutest fucking picture ever! Oh my god! Look at Emma! Look at Lana! Good well fucking done, Capcom. Well fucking done. I know I'm like 19 years too late for this, but fuck. You done did good. You did good, son. Woo! Yep. So that was Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And let's go over the different trials. Alright, so first of all, first turnabout, nothing much, just a way to introduce the style of the game as well as the game mechanics. That's fine. Turnabout Sisters. Alright, this is when things started to get interesting. We had some corruption plots, we had, personal stakes, we had this fucking piece of shit that's been, like, murdered, that's, like, been trying to murder me for, like, the entire time. But yeah, overall, not the best. Then we had Turnabout Samurai. That was a fucking masterpiece. Fuck. I mean, I love bizarre cases, and this was the bizarrest of them all. Plus, it was very satisfying seeing Edgeworth and Wright work together to take down the producer. Turnabout Goodbyes. Masterpiece! I mean, just, again, this is another stake with huge emotional stakes, right? Because we're so invested in Edgeworth by this point, and Von Karma is just so good. If you wanna be the prosecutor #1, you've gotta chase a Mr. Right. You gotta chase a defense attorney on the run. Just follow my moves and sneak around. Be careful not to let a single witness not be coached. But yeah, fantastic. Great plot twists throughout the whole thing. As well as, just overall great. Easily one of my favorite cases. And then Rise from the Ashes is an entirely different beast. I mean, wow. That's like twice as long as Turnabout Goodbyes and Turnabout Samurai. At the beginning, there were no emotional stakes, but over time, we actually learned the huge emotional stakes this had for Edgeworth. Plus, because the trial is so long, we don't need previously established, stakes. Because we spend so much time in this trial with Emma and Lana that the emotional stakes build. It's amazing that they are able to build just so many emotional stakes in just one trial, and of course they do it due to the trial being so long. Also, fucking Blue Badger makes me want to die. But yes, if I had to rank the cases, right from the let's see. Worst one is definitely... Actually, yeah, if I had to rank the cases, I'd say that they go in order. This was the worst one. This was not that great. This one was really... This one was okay. This one was good. This one was fantastic. This one was a masterpiece. And this one... It was everything a case should be. Damn, that ending was so satisfying! Man. I've had so much... So yeah, I mean, much of it went as I thought it would, right? With Emma actually being innocent and it having been Gant both times. Goodman kind of working with, Marshall to try to revive SL9. Yeah, the whole shebang. It was great. It was fantastic. Both this case and the entire game. And honestly, I cannot be more excited for Justice for All. Oh, shit. Yeah, man. So yeah, so far, every single case the game has gotten better. At least in my opinion. So if they keep this up, which honestly, I probably won't, right? There's probably going to be some, some drops at some point. Otherwise, this would be the greatest series on the planet if it only kept improving. I don't think that's even possible. But yes, if there might be some setbacks, that overall, I have high expectations for Justice for All. I mean, from what I've seen, whoever writes this shit knows what the fuck they're doing. They know how to make really compelling characters. And honestly, I'm excited. I mean, they probably got a lot of feedback from the first game, and hopefully they incorporated it in some manner into Justice for All. Maybe the cases will be a bit harder to solve, require a bit more out-of-the-box thinking, a bit more figuring out, because, as much as I like Turnabout Goodbyes and Turnabout, Rise from the Ashes, at the end of the day, it's very easy to know who is the culprit. That's not necessarily a bad thing, since the real fun comes in being able to prove it and figure out how it all fits together. But it'd be nice, as I've said before, to have something where you don't know who the suspect is, and you just have the evidence, and at some point you just have to make a guess. Kind of like in some of the Danganronpa trials. If anything, I found that Ace Attorney 1 was a lot like Danganronpa 1. It kind of spoon-feeds you who the real killer is, right? Just eventually, just by playing through the game, you will figure out who the killer is, and it's very obvious. Sometimes you'll know it right from the very beginning, sometimes you'll know it halfway or 3/4 of the way through the trial, but at the end of the day, you will know who you're pointing the finger to. You just need to figure out how to do so. Meanwhile, in Danganronpa 2 and 3, it's much better. It's done much better. And, there are some points in which you have you don't have, the game hasn't spoon-fed you who the killer is, and all of a sudden it's asking you, who do you think the killer must be, and you just have to pick someone. And you just have to look through all your evidence, figure out who you think the killer is, all on your own, and then prove it. And I love that. I love that aspect of the Danganronpas 2 and 3. So I hope that it's a similar case with Ace Attorney 2. Because, if that is the case, then this game might be even better than the first one. But, alas, we won't be starting it right away. I need a little bit of a break. My voice needs a break. I mean, doing these episodes definitely takes a lot of me. I'm constantly running out of breath, having to get water, because I'm doing all these voices. So, I need something that's a bit less visual novel. And that is going to be, drum roll please, Lucius! Yes, we're going to be playing the Lucius 1. And, because I've heard, from what I've seen of the games, they look really fun, and if I like it, I might just end up doing the whole series. It's only 3 games, and I think they're pretty short, so shouldn't be an issue. So yes, Lucius is going to be the next series on the channel. I'm not sure, I think I can get out the first episode by next week, but I'm moving into college dorms next week and the week after that, so there might be a bit of a hiatus there, so I'm not sure, but yes. Lucius is coming next to the channel, and then, after I finish Murdered Soul Suspect, which I will be continuing, I will start Justice for All. On that note, I also promised to reveal a second game that we're going to be starting on the channel, and that is Vampire, which is a very fun game. It's like a vampire game, as you can tell by the name. I'm going to be playing it together with Bryce, and, we still haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do it and when, since he's going to be unavailable for some time and then I'm going to be unavailable for some time. So it's still going to be some time before that comes out, but trust me, you will enjoy it once it does. But yes, if this has... So yes, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for this amazing finale. And if you want some more anime visual novel murder mysteries, check out our Persona 4 Golden streams every Sunday. It's an anime visual novel murder mystery with JRPG gameplay, and it's fucking amazing. I'm playing it with a bunch of other guys, and we're having a blast every single episode, and we'd really appreciate it if you could show up to the streams at Sunday at 3 p.m. and hang out, get on the chat. You can also join our Discord down in the description if you want to talk with us or get any notifications whenever a video or stream goes up. So yes, it's been a wild ride, man. I don't want to stop recording because then it ends. And then it ends. But alas, I have to. Because all good things must end. So yes. I'll see you on Sunday for Persona 4. I'll see you next week for Lucius. And I'll see you eventually for Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Justice for all.